Eddie, you said another thing in the DVD which I thought was good. How there's a difference between playing full and playing loud. How does that relate to the brushes?
The
What do you
same
mean
thing
by that?
when he was talking about before. When you're playing full with the brushes, that creates the sound. But you're not playing loud. You're just creating the sound.
Sound.
The sound.
What you're doing, you're
Sound, yeah.
working with you're fortunate, you're working with a great bass player. You and he control that whole thing. If you get a great bass player, you and he control the whole thing.
Who was the rhythm section on the DVD?
It's Jay Anderson.
Oh wow!
And Vic Juris.
Oh really? Wow!
You know, if you play
Yeah.
behind the
So
brushes, if you're using the switch, you ain't gonna get loud.
That's right.
You can't get loud because you're not hitting the drum.
Right,
You're sweeping over the drum, so
I
you're
mean,
not.
you
gonna
can
get
change how much swish you get depending if you're using the top.
Well, that's why it's so hard.
You're swishing down.
Yeah, if you're swishing with the whole fan.
Yeah.
Well, that's what makes it hard because you can get all those different sounds with just doing this, but you can make 3 or 4 different sounds.
You can get right in the sound and not move nowhere. You can get a lot of
But ain't
stuff
none of
right
it gonna
there.
be too loud because that's the nature of the brush.
I mean, the first thing anybody hears when anybody does anything is sound. And you have to be aware of that you create. And then you can start to become aware of the beat, the time, all that other stuff. What kind of sound do you get? It's like, you can't use a brush on a clear head. You're not going to get any
I was
sound.
just getting ready to say, for the magazine, you should put that in, man. That,
You got to have a coated
Gotta
head
have
or some kind
right
of friction.
head, because a clear head, you get nothing.
You need friction. You need to have that because, the friction in the old days was the wire going over the pores from the calf head.
And I tell you what, that's
because this plastic, you don't get nothing with this plastic.
The clear plastic.
Clear plastic is hard.
Well, I say this.
You get one sound out of that.
Basically,
Everybody gets that same sound.
Yeah,
Basic coated head.
Getting all the drummers that I really admired, and it took me a little while to figure this out because I hear a lot of drummers that have great technique now and all that, but the sound they get, I don't like. And you know what? I thought about it. I said, and he played all the drummers I really like. They learned how to play on calf heads. And that made you had to have a touch on those. Because when them things got soggy, baby. Was that
Raw core.
And wrong.
Oh, yeah.
Stuff loosen up.
Loosen up on you.
You had
You
no
can't
problem
fight.
until you played when you do the chitlin. I don't know whether y'all did the chitlin.
I did a lot.
Oh, yeah. Everybody did the chicken.
Well, we played them tobacco barn warehouse. And the funk be rising, and your head
It
goes
just goes down and up.
Tell me this. Another thing that I noticed on the DVD.
That's right.
The extremes in the way everyone played the brush on the head. You seem to lay more of the fan into the head, and you get a very thick, very lush sound. As where Billy, and I might be wrong, seemed to play more up on the tips of the brushes themselves, and you got a really clean sound. At least that's the way it looks. Sometimes brushes can even be,
You don't think
a
that sounds
mystery.
good?
Come on, work with me.
They work clean.
So I'm curious, do different angles?
Of course.
We'll talk about that a little bit, the different angles and the different sounds.
That's
you
what I
get
was
by
talking about
different
when I
angles.
said before. You could be doing this, but you could get
How clean
so
was
many
he,
different
Barney?
sounds.
How clean was Eddie Locke? Locke's been around a long
That's when I went to
time.
Roundtable, people start trying to play compliments and they start getting on you. So, but tell me the difference between the fan all the way down on the head and the tips just down the head.
It's a different
It's a
sound.
different sound.
It's a different
That's
sound.
What is the different sound? Can you explain it?
One is a switch, more of a switch, and the other one down,
Yeah, when
you get more of a beat.
You get more, I call
And
it a
you get-
swoosh.
Yeah.
You get the sound of a swoosh.
A smush instead of a swish.
Because what's happening is now, up here, you get using the tip of the brush, so that's one sound. But when you smoosh it down, now the part of the brush that's down near the end of the brush is going to hit the head, and it's going to give another sound.
I would say, when you're light up, you're going to get a light, airy sound, and you just have the tips of the brush. And as you put more pressure, a much thicker,
Because
darker,
you're getting more.
deeper
You're
sound.
getting
And like
more.
you said, a lush sound.
Yeah, you're getting
You don't
more
break
surface connecting with more surface. So that's going to create another character of sound. And then, how much pressure you put on them. You know, all
How
these
much pressure, how
factors-
fast you move.
Yeah,
it
it's
gives
like
a little-
shading. I call it like shading. You know,
Well,
how you shade.
the other thing that makes a difference in the sound was because when you're up here, the brushes, the wire is spread open.
Right,
Yeah,
You know,
right.
so when you swoosh, you're gonna get where the wire are together because it's close to the end of the wire of the handle. So you're gonna get a different sound because now you got the wire is close together. Because you know when the wire brushes when it fans out, you got some brushes here? Where are the brushes? When the brushes fan out, you know, it's still down near the end of the brush. You know, down where the handle where the brush, the wire is more together. You know, mechanically. So when you play and you smush down, now you're gonna get the sound of the wires that are closer together. You know what I'm saying?
Isn't the wires, well, like I noticed, Ben, in your part of the DVD, it seemed like you have the wires more drawn up.
Yeah.
Was that to get more rebound, with like more of a stick?
That was get more of a, yeah, I didn't want the mushy.
You don't want the smush?
No, I wanted to hear each one of my beats almost individually.
Is that the way you always keep the brushes, sort of taut?
Depends on how and who I'm working with.
You know, when as you, I think hearing Mr. Persip's analogy of it, it helped me realize why I do what I do. I mean, I started out playing brushes with Shirley Horn, and I've rarely seen anybody that could play any slower than that.
That's right.
So that meant I had to find a way to make that sound longer.
Yeah.
And that was my first, you know, it was my first gig. And now, and I guess I got used to that sound. So until I heard Sip say it, and now I realized why I needed more, because I needed more air.
So you mean you push down more on the brush? Or
No,
what's that?
I play lighter because
Play lighter,
because
right.
it's like Mr. Sip said, it's wider. I can get more sound.
I don't want to bring those in because I can't write out whatever it is you play.
Oh, good.
So that's not, that's off the table, that's right.
I'll take these home.
Okay, good. So that does contribute to your sort of lighter,
Yeah.
faster, cleaner sort of sound.
Well, I'm glad you thought it was cleaner. I mean, the thing I was doing is just cover as much
The space,
area,
yeah.
as much space as possible,
Mhm.
because you play so slow.
You want to cover the complete
Right,
expanse
because
of the drum
nothing
head.
sounds worse than that's those holes in that
Yes.
sound.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
wanna, you know,
Yeah.
a whole.
Right, you
It's
wanna
the difference between
feel,
going
you wanna
one,
feel that
two,
up.
3, or going 1, 2, 3.
Whole notes.
You know, you want to create that continuity
Right.
of sound.
A legato. sound.
Legato sound.
Legato, right.
Staccato.
You
You
know,
want
I
the
wanna
notes to join
ask
together.
all you drummers this question. Is one of the things about brushes at times used to bug the crap out of me. And I wonder y'all experience when one of them wires would get caught up in
Oh, yeah. That's right.
The switch going off here.
Yeah.
So all y'all have experienced.
Oh, yeah, more than once.
Yeah.
And that's another thing, because you don't want that to happen, you're more conscious of not doing that. So that's a whole nother technique, just keeping it off the edge of that.
Yeah,
And another thing, if you
on that
move
grill.
yourself with them brushes that you might do, make sure that you get some antiseptic immediately.
If you wound yourself.
No,
Yeah.
it can fester, it can fester.
Right,
You know.
So, and Ken, there's another aspect that I notice, and it sounds like you notice, is if I have my hand in the traditional grip holding the brush, and I move around with my palm up, I tend to get a lighter sound. But if I turn it over, so the weight of my hand is over the brush, it's similar to a match grip idea, I can get a darker sound. And that's why, I have the hand over and some of the other drummers have their hand over, I think. You get a little more weight on the brush so you can get a thicker sound easily without having your hand upside, in the traditional
But
mode
see,
and pushing
there are
down.
some guys that play like this.
The match, there's no reason
It
why.
doesn't matter whether it's brushes or stick.
Right.
This is the way they play. Some
Yeah.
guys play just like that all the time.
I found that the thing about traditional grip, because young guys will say, well, I only play match grip, what about the brushes? And I say, well, to move the circle around, you need to move this way, But when I'm playing traditional grip, I can move this way. I can use the
wrist,
wrist
yeah,
and the
wrist,
fingers to help move it around, which is different than having to move my entire arm.
Right.
Well,
So
brush is
that in
basically-
itself,
That's a great point, but not to limit things.
No.
Of course, you still can do it.
of course you can do
Match
it.
grip.
And the whole thing is finding what works for you.
That's right.
And finding a technique that allows you choices.
But there have to be certain techniques that everyone uses, right?
No, not with the brush.
What about the basic, isn't that the basic technique that people use?
Well, that's the beat, that's the,
Yeah, you
that's
gotta
like
think
whack with a
about-
stick.
Well,
That's
for a
the same
student-
beat, it's a stick.
Well, my point is that for a kid who knows nothing about brushes, if he just thinks there's wide open options, you gotta start somewhere, right? And that's the basic pattern,
Well, no,
right?
stop, the somewhere is this.
Right.
Okay, so,
Right.
that's
So
before,
you get,
before
so
the
you
swing.
get
That's
switch
not this.
spots, switch
This is,
spots.
that's it.
Right, okay.
That's learning to
you
make.
start somewhere.
That's
Right.
not, no, this, cause once you got that idea of brushes, you brush, you're sweeping.
Right, stirring the soup.
So you gotta, you can use that, but you gotta learn how to do that first.
In
To
time.
make-
That's
in
my
time,
point,
to
because you
make
guys
the
are all,
calls.
you know, masters of the brushes. But for a kid reading this who doesn't understand, 10, he's gotta start at 1.
Well, that's why he's gotta
That's
buy the
what-
DVD.
That's right.
See what
That's right.
everybody does?
Okay, right.
Because that's the whole
Modern
point.
Okay.
Drummers
That's the whole
magazine
point of the
basically is
DVD.
an educational magazine.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
What, the modern drummer is?
Surely.
I never knew it was educational magazine.
Well, it definitely is. We want people to read the article and say, let me try that, let me do that. I didn't know that.
I never saw, I
I never had no
I just thought
idea
they were
that-
discussing
What-
the
what
did you think it was?
Personalities in the
drummers
drums world or
themselves.
something.
If
I
I
never-
don't, if I don't ask a lot of technical questions in every article, I'm out the door.
Well, I
No,
mean,
but you-
I understand what you're doing,
No,
I'm
this-
just talking about
this
the
is just
magazine
one article. I
itself.
mean, the magazine, I'm with you, the magazine itself is not an educational magazine.
Well, it's not like basic or something, but it's definitely educational. I
Well, I'm
mean,
saying
it's full of-
it has a bearing on how we're gonna answer this
Yeah,
question.
well, yeah, that's why we want as much technical-oriented stuff as possible.
I see.
As we can do in just talking about it. Granted, that's kind of hard.
See, this is for the kids. We brought this point up, but I think we should discuss it a little longer. Is if kids that use match grip, let them. You can play brushes with the match grip. You can do it. So don't let that. Don't make the kid feel like I've got to.
No, you don't
learn
have to.
However, if you're going to master this instrument, you've got to deal with the history of the instrument. And the history of the instrument, brushes, when the technique of brushes was developed, it was developed on traditional grip.
And you get a totally different feel, don't you? With traditional as opposed to match, I mean, don't you?
What's so
Not
good
much.
about this DVD is gonna be, you see a different technique with each individual. So this way they get a chance to take a little from each.
Yeah.
That's how we came up,
That's right.
taking a little from each person we heard from,
I
we
mean-
take a little
But
from
just
each.
let the kids know that you can play brushes match grip though, because a lot of drummers don't know jack about traditional.
That's right.
And when
No.
you try to get it to them, they get totally spastic.
I've already got all my titles.
So let them know that it's very possible to play great brushes match
Yeah.
grip.
I mean, I think of what happened is
And you
like,
demonstrated in
Yeah,
the DVD.
he shows
You're-
I did.
You actually do demonstrate it.
I mean, I think,
Yeah.
I saw these
See,
guys.
that's why I
play.
wanted to see that. You
And then
guys have
they
to get that
showed
stuff together so
the
we
guys,
can
the
see
elders.
that.
I totally
Right.
agree.
We don't know what we did.
I totally
I don't anyway.
I don't remember being there.
Give me some what you did.
I mean, one of the
What
great.
you got in your water?
Yeah. One of the things was that we even asked in the DVD was, I was inspired by seeing these gentlemen play. And then I was also able to see some of the guys that inspired them as well.
And I was inspired by that train passing by while I was sitting outside in the hallway.
Yeah, something going chicka 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 whatever. So consequently, these are all the things that affect how we do what we do.
Sure, history plays a big
Yeah.
part of it.